beautiful and perfect for this morning. Great choice. And thank you all for being here today. For those of you watching our live stream, I'm Reverend Carmela, and it's my great pleasure and privilege to be the spiritual leader of Unity Spiritual Center. So, Memorial Day weekend, the official beginning of the summer season. Now, this weekend evolved to represent different things for different people. For those in school, it means the end of a school year and the beginning of their summer off. For most of the workforce, it means a 3-day weekend. For some, it's about barbecues and great department store sales. For me, years ago, it was an annual camping trip in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, near Stockbridge. Then it became the day my eldest son was born. Yep, happy birthday, Matthew. And then later on, it became marching in parades with my Revolutionary War unit, stopping at war memorials and paying tribute to those who lost their lives to end tyranny. I wonder, though, how many people really remember what Memorial Day is all about. Memorial Day is a day of remembering. We remember, honor, and thank all those men and women who lost their lives fighting not only for the freedom of this country, but for those overseas too. The idea of what we celebrate today as Memorial Day started at the end of the Civil War, when many communities set aside a day to mark the end of the war as a memorial to those who had died. It was called Decoration Day because the purpose was to decorate the tombs of the soldiers who had died, and it was to be held on May 30th each year. Decoration Day was changed to Memorial Day in 1882, and in 1967, Memorial Day became the official name. Then in 1971, the last Monday in May became the official holiday. And that didn't sit well with some people. So there are movements still to this day to restore it back to its original day of May 30th. Now, I wonder if that's when the consciousness changed. If that's when the focus of honoring those who perished in war became overshadowed by a 3-day weekend and barbecues. Again, today is a day of remembering. In 1905, the philosopher George Santayana said, "Those who cannot remember the past are doomed to repeat it." Considering that wars continue to rage on, it's apparent that humans have not remembered the past and haven't learned from it. In fact, since the time of the American Revolution, there has been 93 wars and rebellions that involved the United States. 93. Isn't that mind-boggling? That statistic just blew me away. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about that, you can just Google a list of wars involving the United States and it'll come right up. When I read that, I was reminded of a quote by Jimi Hendrix. He said, "When the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world will know peace." Conflicts and wars generally start with the desire to have power and control and to dominate over another. So yes, when the power of love overcomes the love of power, the world would know peace. And that starts in the minds and hearts of each of us. In Unity and in all new thought systems, we know that everything is created twice. You, the eternal spirit that you are first an idea in the mind of God before you ever came into expression in this reality or any other. The chair or sofa that you're sitting on right now was first an idea in someone's mind. Then that idea was acted upon and it appeared in physical form as the last step in the creative process. This country, any country, was first an idea in someone's mind, a longing for something that did not exist. Then more people got that idea, and then more And they began to take action on those ideas, and then a nation was born. Everything is created twice, first in mind as thought, and then in the outer reality that we experience. And even though we honor these brave women today, men and women today, for their bravery and valor, ultimately our goal is to end all war, all conflict, and restore peace and retain peace. The Constitution of the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization says, since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defenses of peace must be constructed. It's in our minds, the minds of all humans, where that needs to begin. At a speech at Arlington National Cemetery on Memorial Day in 1945, Frederick Moore Vinson, the 13th Chief Justice of the Supreme Court and the Secretary of Treasury at the end of World War II, said, "Wars are not acts of God. They are caused by man, by man-made institutions, by the way in which man has organized his society. What man has made, man can change." And again, as truth students, we know that it needs to start within each of us. We need to change our thoughts whenever they're negative. We don't ignore them, we acknowledge them, and then willingly change them. When we do this consistently, then we live in a place of peace, and that is extended. Again, as truth students, we know that there is only the one, and everything we see is a reflection of our minds. What we think, we will see. As long as there is conflict in our hearts, we will see conflict in the world. So yes, indeed, since war begins in the minds of human beings, it is in the minds of human beings that the defenses of peace must be constructed. In Luke 17, verse 21, Jesus says, "The peace of God is within you." He meant it. The peace of God is within each and every one of us. You know, war comes in many forms, not just the obvious. For the past year and a half, we've been in a different kind of war. Not since 1865 have we seen war on this soil. But we, in just about every other country, have been battling against an enemy we can't see, a virus. But thanks to the doctors and scientists and the countless others who helped create and bring the vaccines to all of us, and all those who have chosen to receive the vaccines, we are beginning to see an end to this war. We're not out of the woods yet, because some people who have received the vaccine have tested positive for COVID. So we still need to take precautions and to ensure the safety of others. But that vaccine and that willingness to end this virus started as a thought. And the creative juices flowed. And that thought became a reality. Now, those fighting this war go beyond the military. They're the first responders, the hospital workers, those working in long care facilities, the police and ambulances who respond to calls, not knowing whether or not they would contract a disease, but they did it anyway. While many of us were hunkered down in our homes, many others were and still are out there doing what needs to be done so that life could go on. They worked on farms and processing plants. They gathered our trash and delivered our food. They stocked shelves and moved us through checkout lines. They worked in warehouses and shipped us. what we needed so we didn't have to leave our homes. These are the people who were in the line of fire in combat during the past 14 months. Now, Memorial Day is about honoring those who lost their lives in combat. Lost their lives. This refers to the physical life. But we know that who we are, who we really are, our true self, our divine self, transcends the physical world. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. And we're multidimensional beings. Just because someone has made it through wars with their physical body still intact doesn't mean they haven't lost a part of their life. No one comes out of war unchanged. And on a physical level, maybe they're paralyzed or lost a limb or lost their ability to see or hear. How about their sanity? And what about those who witnessed losses, both in the past wars and in these hospitals during COVID? Those who are emotionally scarred by the experiences. Didn't they lose part of their lives too? There's a condition in combat. It's when a fighting person's nervous system has been stressed to the fullest that they can't take it anymore. It's being called by different names: shell shock, battle fatigue, operation exhausted, and now it's PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. They may still be in their physical bodies, but they've lost a part of their life. They bear scars which cannot be seen. The military, the frontline workers, and their families. We don't know what another person's journey has been, but we can extend compassion, love, and a helping hand. We can remember them too, as we remember those who no longer have a physical body. The most important thing we can do is monitor our thoughts. I can't emphasize enough how important that is. Our thoughts create our reality. So to end war on any level, the path to peace begins with us. We need to be aware of what we're thinking and change those thoughts whenever we're being judgmental, critical, or unloving to ourselves and others. Remember this, whenever the seeds of negativity try to make their way, we don't ignore it. We don't spiritually bypass those feelings. We acknowledge them so that we can change them. When we create peace within ourselves, then we will see it manifest around it. Just imagine what the world would be like if everybody did this. We don't know the suffering that goes on in private. We don't know the suffering that goes on in the minds of those who have been in combat. Years ago, a friend turned me on to a magazine called The Sun, and I love it. I subscribe today. It's been about 30 years. It's like PBS for publishing. It's totally funded by its subscribers. There are no advertisements, just wonderful photographs, prose, essays, and poems. There's a column there called Readers Write. The subscribers are provided with a monthly topic, and they can submit a brief piece on the topic for publication in the magazine. Now, I've also written pieces and submitted them. The topic for the month of May is ghosts. And I'd like to share an entry written by someone from Portland, Oregon. There was a man I used to see regularly around the small town where I lived. He was neat and old-fashioned with well-trimmed hair and a mustache, but his face was ashen and his eyes were glazed. There was always a cigarette between his pale lips or in his trembling fingers. shuffling along with his slouched shoulders on his small frame. He seemed caught between worlds. One morning, I saw him heading in my direction on an empty street. When we were close, he lifted his gaze from the concrete and looked and locked eyes with me. His brows furrowed, and with fear and desperation, he gasped, "Please help me." He grabbed the upper sleeves of my shirt. "Brother, please help me." "What's the matter?" I asked. "What can I do?" "Can I have a cigarette?" he croaked. I handed him one, and he pulled from it hungrily as I gave him a light. His eyes softened, and he relaxed for a moment, leaning against the wall of the building. After a couple of puffs, I saw the panic return. He grabbed my collar, yelling, "Oh God, please help me. I killed them. I killed them all." He let go of me and started sliding down the wall. Men, women, and children, we mowed them down, all like dogs. He choked up as he held his index finger like a gun. It seemed he was confessing to some sort of war crime. By now, I was sitting on the cold concrete with him, and he sobbed. "We killed every last one of them." I sat with him quietly, my hand on his shoulder, and 30 years later, I continue to pray for his soul. Now, I remember after Vietnam, I remember seeing interviews with veterans who were speaking about incidents like this. Their identities were hidden to protect them. Some were clear that they were just following orders and did what they had to do, while others sobbed with remorse and their pain visibly apparent. These are the scars we cannot see. We're familiar with the idea of bravery on the battlefront, but this is a different type of bravery. To follow orders given by those in command and live with those memories the rest of your life. These are the scars we cannot see. This is not a limb loss or sight or hearing lost. This is part of the soul, part of the life that has been lost. We owe so much to so many, not only those who have lost their physical lives, but those who are changed forever by their experience. So from this day forward, from this Memorial Day on, as we enjoy the freedom we have with families and friends and partake in all its festivities, let's remember that peace begins with each of us. Let's remember to pray for the souls who were lost during the war and those who are forever scarred from their experience of it. And now I invite you to close your eyes as we move into meditation. Just allow yourselves to be comfortable in your seat. Put your feet flat on the floor if possible, and just feel yourself relaxing. With every breath you take, you feel more and more relaxed. You allow each breath to take you deeper. You allow each breath to relax you more and more. You feel your breath steadying, and you breathe at a comfortably relaxed pace. I know that I am a divine child, created by the divinity that shares its divinity with me. I know that there is only one, and all of creation stems from this one. Everywhere I look, I see the beauty of nature. I see the magic of biology creating humans. And I know that every cell in every body is a cell of God. There is nowhere and nothing that I am not part of. Knowing the history of war, I am ever vigilant to be mindful of any negativity that may exist within me. When I am feeling war within myself, I call on the Holy Spirit to help me change my mind, to change my thoughts from that of conflict to one of peace, so that I can extend that peace to every brother and sister that I encounter. I know that history is there to teach us, and I have learned from history. I have learned that peace begins with me. I have learned to honor all people, regardless of their beliefs, their politics, the color of their skin, their sexual persuasion. They are each a part of me, and I am part of them. I honor the Christ within each person, and I extend my greatest love and gratitude to all those who put themselves second and put our lives first. These brave men and women have fought in wars since the beginning of time. And there are those that are with us that still feel the scars of those experiences. So I allow the love that I am to well up within me. And I extend that. I extend that to every human being on this planet. I am so grateful for this awareness. And now I allow myself to move deeper and deeper into the silence, and I just listen. And now I bring to mind anyone who may be in need of prayer, especially our veterans. We affirm that there is a power and a presence within them that will bring them to peace on any level. We know that whatever they are experiencing, it's temporary and only exists in the world of physical form. And we ask the Holy Spirit to guide them as they continue on their journey while we extend our love to them and offer them our love and peace. We pray for everyone on our Unity healing list, on Silent Unity, and to the wider circle of the world. And now I invite you to bring your awareness back into your body, back into the room where you are. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. And it's this time in our service where we have the opportunity to give. So I invite you to take your gifts and hold them in your hand and visualize whatever symbol you use to share your gifts with, it be it a credit card or PayPal or the donate button on our website or the link that's provided. We give these gifts from our heart. And as we do this, we share part of ourselves. We know that God is our source and God consciousness is our supply. There is a never-ending flow of good that moves through me constantly. So I open my arms to receive, and I give from my heart. And I invite you to bless these gifts with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive, and I am grateful.
Okay, our